analyze till the cows come home. But you're not, until it helps somebody make a decision, we're not being as helpful as we could be. Decision making, okay? Decision making. Then what? Where's Erica? Hello, Erica. Then what happens? Yeah. I'm sorry? Well, I mean, there was a day in my life where I made the decision to purchase 1,000 CDs with my name on the front and my picture on the inside. I made a decision. What happened?
You acted on it.
I acted on it. And here's my highly technical description. Stuff happened. Right, but more specifically, what I'm going to write on the board is economic. Hopefully, if you act on it, stuff is going to happen. And I'm going to say here, economic events. Economic events occur. Immediately, I was poorer. I had less money. And simultaneously, I had 5 much heavier than they looked boxes arrive at my doorstep. So 2 things happened. Money went out of my bank account, and stuff arrived at my doorstep as I ordered it. And so those are both economic events. Are they measurable? Are both of those parts of that economic event measurable by accounting information? Yes. Okay. Some of it financial. I have less money. Some of it non-financial. I have inventory. I have units of inventory. And interestingly, when you buy CDs, they don't guarantee and I have no clue why this is true, but they don't guarantee a precise amount, at least because there's more than one business in place to make CDs for people like me who want to self-produce their CD, and so they kind of pay for it. But they'll get you within, I ordered 1,000, they'll get you within about 75 of 1,000. So they don't actually, when I made my order, it was very clear up front. They weren't going to guarantee precisely, but I was just getting charged for precisely how many I purchased.
Why wouldn't your CDs be considered financial?
The number of CDs, though, is a non-financial. I mean, clearly, if my inventory also has a dollar value equal to the dollar value of what I spent to get it. But there's also a non-financial component of it, which is how many CDs do I have? So it is both. Well, those are 2 distinct pieces of information, right? In the sense that, how many CDs do I have? 1,000. What's the value of those? Whatever it was I paid for them. Okay, so those are 2 conceptually distinct pieces of information. And in a more complex environment, those 2 distinct pieces of information are more important. In my environment, it's very easy to calculate how much is the value of one CD. But in environments that we're going to encounter, it's much more difficult to calculate and determine what's the value, what's the cost of one CD, or one whatever it is that we're making. Okay? And so that accounting information, what we just described was we can measure those economic events using accounting information, both sides of that economic event, if you will. And then that can be used to determine or to help me make more decisions. If I still have 900 CDs left, do I need to kind of be thinking very hard about my second order? Okay. So so again, that number of CDs is a useful piece of information to help with decision making. Okay. Now, there are several areas of accounting in the world. There are three that I'm going to list here. What's the very first accounting class you typically take? Financial. What's another area of accounting? Those of you who've had 5 classes are much more likely to have had tax. Well, okay. And then what's the last one? Audit. So let's talk about these. And I put them here. Why? Because financial accounting, when are financial statements prepared? After the period is over, at the end of a period. So financial statements summarize the accounting information for a year's worth of economic events. And they do it post-economic events. Tax is largely the same thing. Now, clearly you can do financial planning. Companies do to try and manage their earnings a little bit. Clearly you can plan and do tax planning because companies do try to manage their tax, how much they owe in taxes. But primarily it's a post-economic event measuring system. And then what gets audited? Both of this, right? Who audits financial statements? CPAs. See, I'm making this really easy. I happen to have a CPA license from the state of Texas, and it's a license. What's it a license to do? Audits. Now, very often, business people associate CPAs with taxes. But what it's a license to do is it's a license to do audits and to sign off on published financial statements saying that these have been fairly prepared. That's what this is a license to do. I also happen to have, and I'm the only faculty here at this university I'm a CMA. What's CMA stand for? Certified Managerial Accountant or Certified Management Accountant, I think. It is not a license. This piece of paper I have is not a license, it's actually a certificate. And all it says is that at one point in time, I was smart enough to pass a test. A fairly big test. It was a 2.5 day long test at the time I took it. And so at some point in time, I had this minimal level of knowledge. And so that's what it certifies. It certifies some level of knowledge, but a CPA is a license to do audits, and a license to do audits of published financial statements. Who audits taxes? IRS, which is an employment possibility for some of you. Now, the thing I like about the content of the classes I teach is that it is pre-decision information. The other big areas of accounting are post-decision, post-economic event systems, measuring systems, recording systems, reporting systems. The primary purpose of management accounting is helping decision makers make better decisions. That can be very fun and exciting. So the managerial accountants, the cost accountants are the people that are helping decision makers increase the value of their organizations and help them grow and do all those sorts of things, and that is fun. Anybody here ever heard of OnStar?